Alex Van Pelt, the new offensive coordinator. We're now giving out titles in New England. Alex Van Pelt discussed the future of the quarterback position within New England in his opening press conference with the team, and this is what he had to say.
The biggest thing is there's some good pieces in place. I think the best thing for everybody is it's going to be a fresh start for everybody. I've talked to a couple guys already to coming in with a clean slate, no preconceived expectations or notions of who these guys are, and then we'll build it from the ground up.
You mentioned that you had a chance to meet Mac Jones. Can you envision him being this team's starter next season?
Really right now, everything is on the table. As we go through this process, we're really this last couple weeks, 10 days, have just been diving into who we are, trying to evaluate our guys. A lot of people in this situation on staffs that have been here, they're doing free agency. Well, we're doing our guys as they are free agents. So we're trying to understand who we have here as well as looking at other players out there. But right now, everything is on the table, and we're just still working through that process. When that time comes, I'm sure it'll be a collaborative effort, and we'll make the right decisions.
What are you going to say about that? Alex Van Pelt, Brandon Wosey, I'm glad the Patriots are finally giving out titles when it comes to coaching positions. So if everything's on the table, I want to know, should the Patriots give Mac Jones or Bailey Zappe another chance to be their starting quarterback?
Yeah, well, I think that's fine. Everything's on the table. We're just getting started with the evaluation. He just got there, so that's fine. I'm all for that. But then when he starts saying, if everything's on the table and we're looking for a smart, tough leader who's accurate and mobile and has good decision-making, gets the best out of the rest of his players, then he's definitely looking for a new quarterback, because nobody on that team was doing that the last couple of years, that's for sure. Mac Jones, nobody considered him much of a leader. Actually, he lost the locker room here in the last year. They thought he was a prima donna. His accuracy wasn't so good. Mobility, he hasn't really much mobility at all. His decision-making was horrible, right? He got himself benched halfway through the season. He didn't get the best out of the other players, although you got to admit they didn't really have too many other players to get the best out of. And he, in terms of being smart and tough, you got to question that a little bit. So, Bailey Zappe, I don't think he's the real deal either. I got to say, he's tough. I'll give him that, and he shows leadership. I think that's too. But in terms of having a really great arm and making the best decisions, I think that's a problem too. So, and he's more mobile than Mac Jones. So according to these criteria, I actually think Bailey Zappe might have a little bit of a leg up on Mac Jones. But I'm interested to hear what you think.
Well, first of all, I'm going to say this. The Patriots have a lot of cap space. They're the fourth most cap space in the NFL. And NFL.com listed the Patriots the most needs, what they need the most. And this is the list that NFL.com came up with. Quarterback was number one, then tight end, then offensive tackle, wide receiver, and then running back. And those, if you're watching on YouTube, those are who's on the active roster. No credible tight end. Hunter Henry's gone. He's hitting free agency. Gesicki is going to be a free agent. Pharaoh Brown, who had a sparkling moment early in the season, he'll be gone. The only guy, his last name is Petway. Pretty sure he was on the practice squad. They got no one. Michael Wenu, offensive tackle. He was a guard, moved to tackle. He's a free agent. Trent Brown, he's a free agent. Wide receiver, you have Juju Smith-Schuster and Devontae Parker, who are completely overpaid. Tyquan Thornton, who's a complete bust. Demario Douglas, who was the leading receiver, and he had the 61st most receiving yards in the NFL last season. That's a major problem. And Kayshon Boutte, who was in Belichick's doghouse for Lord knows what reason, and he got arrested for gambling underage when he was at LSU. So he's dealing with his own problems. Running back, Zeke's gone. You have Stevenson, then you have Kevin Harris, then Keyshawn Vaughn, former Tampa Bay Buccaneer. Then you also have Jermichael Hasty. So this team, by the way, they're 31st in offensive spending, if I got that number correct. They are 31st in offensive spending for this past season. They're 30th in offensive line spending. No wonder why the offensive line was one of the worst in pass blocking, why Mac Jones had horrible time to throw.
You get what you pay for.
Exactly. And that's thanks to the one and only Bill Belichick, who you will still defend to the ends of the earth.
That's true.
But that is the case. Belichick did not spend where it mattered. By the way, Demario Douglas, 561 yards. He had no touchdowns on the year. I think the only wide receiver that led in touchdowns was Kendrick Bourne, who is also a free agent, who had 4. The leader was Hunter Henry with 6. The offense was horrible. Absolutely abysmal.
Well,
however, the Patriots, like I said, are fourth in cap space. My problem is, and also, first of all, before I jump into what I think they should do at the quarterback position, do you respect Brian Hoyer's opinion?
What was his opinion?
I'm asking, do you respect his opinion? He was a former Patriot.
I have no reason not to respect his opinion.
Okay, so he went
He's a long-term veteran. He's watched a lot of games from the bench, so he knows the game. And
was a part of Bill Belichick's system for a number of years.
Yeah, it's true.
Was there, not this past year, but the year before.
Yeah.
He was in Mac Jones' rookie year.
He was in for like 4 plays before he got a concussion.
Right, he had
and was out
concussion
the rest
on
of
his
the
sack,
season.
Bailey Zappe, and then, he was responsible for all the people who believed in the Zappe hype. He went on Good Morning Football and said, quote, I'm going to stick up for my guy Mac. He's kind of got a raw deal the past few years. A guy like Marvin Harrison Jr., pair him up. I know what Mac's capable of. I witnessed it his rookie year. He believes Mac Jones basically got shafted by the New England Patriots and mostly by Bill Belichick. He's the guy that buys all the groceries, that determines the offensive skill set. I went through it before on the show. Belichick's offensive draft pieces are abysmal. Absolutely horrible. I believe it was less than 25% offensive hits, and I think it's even worse than that. It may be 16.5. I would need to go, rummage through my statistics over here to my right. But what's also fascinating is that once again, the Patriots have some of the worst open receivers in the NFL when it comes to separation. Out of 109 receivers, Juju Smith-Schuster in openness is 103rd. They gave him a 3-year deal. They were $1 million off from Mac Jones' security blanket, who made some phenomenal plays when he was on the Patriots, and that's Jacoby Myers. Okay, what about the guy that they're spending about $12 million on for the next 2 seasons, Devontae Parker? He was notorious for the past 3 seasons being dead last in wide receiver separation. Once again, make it year 4. He was dead last in wide receiver separation. This is Belichick's work. To say that Mac Jones, and I could completely understand it, he was frustrated and maybe he didn't respond correctly to being absolutely screwed over by an offensive staff that wasn't qualified to be a part of an offense. Everybody can understand that. Belichick was doing his buddies a favor after being fired. Why did they get fired? They didn't do their jobs. They kept losing. And instead, Belichick promoted them, basically, from where they were on his staff to higher-ups, to positions they didn't know how to coach. And that led to failure. Shocking. And what does Belichick do in the redemption season that I was hyped for? I don't think you could tell, if you look back at some of the old shows, how hyped I was for this past season. Oh, I was hyped for this season because it was supposed to be Bill O'Brien. We had 2 very decent tight ends. I think Hunter Henry's a B-plus tight end, and Mike Gesicki, who wasn't that bad. And I was very, very excited. And lo and behold, it was a complete cataclysmic failure. But Mac Jones started off fine. It was turnovers and poor offensive line play. That was the detriment of the Patriots early on. We remember the Philadelphia game. Mac Jones threw a slightly overthrown ball to, I believe, Kendrick Bourne that was housed. And then you had Zeke, I believe on the very next drive, fumble the ball away. And then the following game, and then, of course, you had Kayshon Boutte not being able to keep his feet in bounds. Then you had the Miami Dolphins game. Once again, not a great performance offensively. You had 2 turnovers in the game. You lost by 7. The offensive line couldn't hold late. I believe it was Devontae Parker who, shockingly, separated from his defensive back and was open on the right side of the field. I think it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world to say, you know what, Mac, we'll give you a legitimate shot. We're going to get you...
Oh, you said this last year.
I did say this last year.
Near the end of the season, you said
right.
Mac Jones should get another shot and
Absolutely.
that they should draft Harrison Jr.
Correct.
Right.
And what I would do is I would draft, if Bo Nix or Michael Penix or J.J. McCarthy, if any of these quarterbacks are in the second round, you draft them there. Regardless of what happens, you draft a wide receiver at the number 3 overall pick.
Even if Jalen Daniels is available at number 3.
That's pulling on my heartstrings a little bit because I want Jaden Daniels on the Patriots. I think he is probably the second best quarterback in the draft, but I think the Commanders are wising up and hearing some of the commotion about Drake May and how he could slip, and I do think Drake May will slip. And that's my fear, that if the Commanders take Jaden Daniels, that the Patriots would draft Drake May because they feel like they need a quarterback. If I'm the Patriots, I'm not drafting Drake May. I'm going Marvin Harrison, and if another quarterback's available in the second round, you have, I think, a top pick in the second round anyway. That's where you go and get a quarterback. Because regardless, you want to help out whatever quarterback is your starter next season. If you can get the top receiver in the draft immediately, you're helping out whoever is behind there. You sign Michael Wenu. If you want Trent Brown, you can bring him back. You have reportedly the Bucs are probably going to re-sign Mike Evans. That's perfect for them. Now you can go sign Baker Mayfield. But if Mike Evans hits the open market, I'd sign Mike Evans. You have the fourth most cap space. You have $78 million. Make some moves. I'd get Kendrick Bourne back. He was a Mac Jones security blanket. There's moves that need to be made. And there's people who I think now are in a position to make them. When it was Belichick's decision, nobody could do anything without Bill Belichick approving it. Or Belichick just doing it himself. And that led to a bunch of pieces completely failing. I think they're going to trade Juju. I think they're going to move a couple pieces here that are completely useless and unnecessary. I'm not sure either. But what I do think is, reportedly, they're shopping a bunch of people, including both Devontae Parker and Juju Smith-Schuster. Good.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Because it's crazy how your slot receiver, who's your wide receiver 3, he wasn't even your wide receiver 3 entering the season, but ended up being because Parker and Smith-Schuster kept getting hurt. And he led
Parker
your team.
is always hurt.
Right.
He's hurt all the time. He's not in too many games, that's for sure.
But the fact that your leading receiver had 561 yards, that was
pretty
61st in the league.
Yeah, and no touchdowns.
Some wide receiver 3s had more yards than Demario Douglas.
And Douglas was hurt for a couple of games. He wasn't in every game.
Which makes that even more shocking, how he's your leading receiver.
True.
What are you going to do?
I might explain some of the yardage, though. I mean, maybe he would have had 700 and 800 yards.
Not a chance. Yeah. Not with Zappe and Mack throwing in the ball. I mean, at one point it was almost Nathan O'Rourke.
Well, who else needs a quarterback after the Patriots? Who else is going to take those really good quarterbacks that are still left? Raiders probably.
I think the Steelers are gonna. We're gonna talk about it later,
maybe.
But Steelers are gonna bring in some competition.
There's 2.
The Falcons.
Yeah.
There's a number of teams. And supposedly the Seahawks are interested in Mac Jones if he becomes available via trade or by the Patriots just straight up release him. Let's see. The Giants might be looking at a quarterback. Atlanta. The Jets might be as a backup. They probably wouldn't get with the number 10 spot. Minnesota's looking for a quarterback. Denver could be looking for a quarterback. Las Vegas. Seattle maybe.
So all the good quarterbacks are going to be gone by the end of the first round.
Maybe.
So the second round, there won't be much to pick from then.
There might not be, but
I don't
regardless,
think J.J. McCarthy won't be there in the second round. I bet.
I still don't love J.J. McCarthy.
Bo Nix probably won't be. Michael Penix probably won't be.
I'm going to go down with the ship. I don't think J.J. McCarthy is going to be talent-wise a first-round pick. I'll need to grind the college all-22 before we make our mocks, which I am in I'm in the process of currently doing. But for me, J.J. McCarthy is not a first-round pick. But regardless, I don't care who it is. I'd go Marvin Harrison at number 3. If Jaden, have this, I'll do a situational pick. If Jaden Daniels goes 2, that's when you draft Marvin Harrison. I would not draft Drake May. If I'm the Patriots, I wouldn't draft him. He's too much of a gunslinger. He's a little bit too reckless. There's some things that I don't love about Drake May. Can he throw a great deep ball? Sure. Sure he can. I don't love him, though. I would rather take Jaden Daniels, who is a two-way player. He can run the ball very well. He can also throw the ball pretty well. I would take him if he's available instantly. So at number 3, if Washington decides to draft May or Nix or whoever they want to draft at number 2, if it's not Jaden Daniels, if I'm the Patriots and Jaden Daniels is available, I would probably take him. But if he goes number 2, I'm drafting Marvin Harrison. Mm-hmm. I'm keeping Mack, and maybe you can go sign a veteran. You could also take that route of signing a veteran. You have Ryan Tannehill out there. Kirk Cousins is probably going to make a decent amount of money, but Jimmy G is going to be forcibly retired from the NFL.
I don't believe
Not
it.
A single team. I'm
against. I don't believe that, Nate.
I know you don't.
He will have a job. I bet you.
I was wrong with Baker Mayfield, but I feel damn sure about this. Jimmy G will not be a quarterback in 2024. Wrote it down. Wrote the date that I'm telling you. No team is going to look at last year and say, 7 touchdowns, 9 picks. We'll take him. He played 6 games, got benched for Aiden O'Connell. We'll take him. Name me one team that you think would be interested, legitimately interested.
It's a backup quarterback at the right price. I'm pretty sure he'll get a job, and he'll go for cheap money. Yeah,
not a chance. Yeah. Not a chance. I'm still.
We'll see. I got two things I've said. My predictions: Bill Belichick will get another job, not this year, but next year, and Jimmy G will be in a uniform this year in the NFL.
I'll say this because people are right when they say this. Mac Jones did not play good. He didn't play well. He didn't play great. He didn't even play bad. He played god-awful. That's indefensible. We even made a clip entitled it, I can't defend Mac Jones anymore. He's become indefensible, especially after that near pick 6 against the Giants. I can't defend it. But what I can say is, for 2 straight seasons, Belichick did literally nothing positive on offense. Literally nothing. No one can name me one positive move. Maybe Demario Douglas, but we don't know yet.
I think
there were flashes.
Demario Douglas played pretty well, actually.
There were flashes.
He had some nice catches.
But he's a rookie. He's a 5'8" slot
open.
Receiver rookie. He's not going to be out there against Jalen Ramsey catching 35 Moss shots over Jalen Ramsey. That ain't going to happen. It just ain't going to. He's not a difference maker. He's not a guy who you're saying, okay, we got to take Demario Douglas out of the game. You do that about receivers like Justin Jefferson, Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill. Sometimes you might say, hey, Jalen Waddle's killing us. Let's try to take him out. T. Higgins is cooking us. Let's try to slow him down. You're not going to do that about a 5'8" slot receiver, Demario Douglas, who did have flash. I'm not hating on the guy. He was the only shining light on the offense. Zeke had moments, but he's not as consistent as he once was. Stevenson got hurt. The passing game was horrible. Offensive line improved slightly. There's not much, but Demario Douglas was the only shimmering light in just a cascade of darkness.
Mm-hmm.
But he's a 5'8" slot receiver.
Well, I think Ramondre Stevenson is a good running back.
I never said he wasn't.
But in terms of shining lights on the Patriots offense, I think Ramondre Stevenson is one. I mean, he couldn't run it. He did get hurt, but
I can't say he's a shining light.
But when he wasn't there at the beginning of the season, there were no holes to run through at all. Nothing. And as the season progressed, he did get better, and then he unfortunately got hurt. So I see him as a shining light.
Well, he's got to be out there first. If he's not, if he's not out there, I can't say he's a light.
Okay, well, the ankle is an ankle issue.
I can't call. No, I'm not even gonna go there because it's not technically right. Not technically right. So I'm not gonna dig myself a hole by saying that. But I'd give Mac Jones another shot with a legitimate receiver core, with a staff that is a legitimate staff, with multiple people having different roles and titles of roles too. They have titles now. They can wear a name tag that says, "Hi, I'm so and so," and it shows their tag, not just their name. We're gonna see Alex Van Pelt, offensive coordinator. We're not gonna hear from Belichick saying, "Oh yeah, by the way, my son Steve is gonna be calling defensive plays, but he's the linebackers coach." No, we're gonna have proper roles now. And by the way, I believe it was the brand new GM he took a shot at Belichick. I don't have the quote up, but
really, that's a low thing to do.
Why?
That's sour grapes. That's you're coming into a new job at the Patriots, which is a storied franchise, a dynasty for a long time, and you come in and take a shot at Bill Belichick. Come on.
And
the guy's stupid.
Here's the quote. So he was at the NFL Combine in Indianapolis, and he said, "quote The team will have less of a hard ass vibe." That is Belichick.
Yeah. Well, that means they won't go maybe 1-16.
Not at all. 6-11. 6-11. They're going to improve from last season. You know why? Because I think there'll be a livelier energy. I think players will. While it might not be good for the younger players to always be, stiff back, at attention always, I think just people might enjoy coming to work. Regardless of win and loss, it'll just feel a little bit nicer. I think Gerard Mayo, the players wanted Gerard Mayo to be the head coach. I think this is a positive thing. My prediction, 6-11.
Yeah.
We normally do these in mid to late August. I'm making it right now. 6-11, New England Patriots. They're going to be last.
Last place in their division.
They're going to be last, but that's expected because the team is horrible. When you spend the 31st lowest money, the 31st most money actually, second to last, that's what's going to happen. You're going to have a bad team. If they all of a sudden become 16th in spending, there you go. Just offensively, I think they spend like 37% of their cap on defense.
Okay, well now they've got the chance to spend their money on offense. We'll
And
see
they
what
should.
they do.
We got receivers,
There are
offensive
a
line,
lot of
tight
players
ends,
out there to get. I'm not
running
so
backs,
sure.
quarterbacks.
They're going to have to spend some big money to get a really good player or two on offense.
Normally, that's how it works. If
you
it's
know
a
what?
good
I
player,
agree
then you
with
spend
you.
a lot of money.
I agree with you on the draft setup there. If Jalen Daniels is available, take him. If he's not, take Harrison. I would agree with that because the rest of those quarterbacks after who's the first guy there?
Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams. After Daniels, those are the two best guys, and the rest of those guys I think are questionable.
Well, once again, currently on the active roster, this is who the Patriots have. They have no tight ends. They have 3 offensive tackles that aren't good. Calvin Anderson,
Are there any good free agent tight
Vidarian
ends?
Lowe, and Connor McDermott.
Are there any good free agent tight ends?
Yeah, there's 2. Hunter Henry and Mike Gesicki. There you go.
Okay.
Oh, and also Jonnu Smith got released today. You might want to bring him back.
I wouldn't bring him back.
I would. He had 50 catches for 500 yards. Why not?
Why did he get released?
He actually got used because the new OC is not going to use those 2 tight end sets or multiple tight end sets, which Arthur Smith liked to do, which Bill O'Brien tried to do, but I think it would have worked better with Jonnu Smith. But that's my opinion. I'd bring him in. He could be used in the running game. The Patriots
Probably get him pretty cheap. He got released.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think the Patriots utilized him that well. You can bring him in for a second try if you want to. Get him at the cheap.